Hey everyone, and welcome back to Eye on Icon. We have a special guest on our show today. We have the guys from Project Nebula. Guys, would you like to introduce yourself? Daniel.
Hi, I'm Daniel, community manager with Project Nebula, and pretty excited to be here. I think it's our first time really getting a chance to talk about Project Nebula in this kind of format.
So we're excited to have you on, and also with us is Holger. How are you going?
Awesome. I'm very happy to be here as well. So I am the co-founder of Icon Forge.
Great, excellent to have you. And always with me, my co-host, Iconographer. How are you going?
Doing well. I'm, if whoever's out there listening, who's the one holding ICX below $2, I really hope you'd reconsider. But that's my, that's my suggestion.
Well, it's just not past that point, but it's good. It's got to keep hitting it. The more it hits it, the weaker that $2 is going to get.
Yeah. by the time people listen, maybe it's above it. So maybe I reverse jinxed it. We'll see.
Yeah. So as always, these podcasts are powered by Icon Plus, and just wanted to let everyone know who's listening, make sure you listen all the way through to the end. Project Nebula, the guys have arranged a little bit of a special surprise to air right at the end of the podcast, and it doesn't matter what medium you're listening to it on. You will get to you'll get to listen to it on anything. It doesn't have to be YouTube. So let's dive in. We've been wanting to get you guys on, I think, right away, and you did tell us, okay, look, just wait a little longer. You were getting ready and getting some stuff prepared, so it's finally that time, and we're beyond excited to have you on. So let's dive right in, guys. Tell us how you ventured into the Wild West that is crypto.
Well, I guess everyone at Project Nebula has a slightly different answer to that one. Most of our current team has had at least some contact with crypto in the past, but not all. I personally was introduced to the crypto world by our co-founder Karel many years ago. Didn't think of it much back then. Didn't really understand it too much either, to be honest. But I bought some coins and did a few smaller investments to some projects, and that was about it for that time. And it wasn't until the idea for Project Nebula sprung to life that I met crypto again. But like I said, everyone has their own story for this one. I know for a fact that our co-founder Karel has been around crypto for a long while. He's also been closely following Icon blockchain specifically already from the ICO.
Yep. No, look, you don't have to be into crypto since 2013, 2017. But yeah, that's good. Good that got really interested late in the game, and it's on Icon that you're interested. That's what matters the most, right?
Yep.
Daniel, how about yourself?
I remember in 2010 doing security at a libertarian convention in Tampa, Florida, and someone walking up from a Bitcoin booth and telling me about Bitcoin, and I had no idea what was happening. I wish, like anyone, that I had done something in 2010, but a few years ago I started working in the crypto industry, working for a startup here in Tallinn, Estonia, and since then have really developed a fascination for crypto, but specifically the NFT market is where I personally see value for others, including myself, and a lot of solid use cases. So I think we definitely come out with a super awesome edge on that. It's something that really excites me there.
Yeah, and look, Daniel, you're so across all the social media mediums, including Telegram and Discord. I'm starting to think you're like Scott. I wonder if you sleep.
I sleep. I think the time zone differences might get people, in bed at 11 and up at 6. I definitely cover some time zones there, but it's a lot of fun. We have a super awesome community, so it's engaging for me, as I hope it is for others.
Yeah, oh, look, definitely. I do enjoy coming into the Telegram room and enjoying, especially the tweets. I get right behind them. Iconographer?
So, just obviously this is a crypto podcast, it's about Icon, but at the same time you're building a game. So I guess kind of let's kind of take the gas off the crypto for a second and look at just as a gamer or as talking to someone who would game. What makes this game compelling? Why might they enjoy it? And what type of game are you trying to make? And I guess as a second part of that, at what point was this from the get go? Oh, we want to make a blockchain game, or was it you guys were in the process of wanting to build a game and then all of a sudden decided to turn it into a blockchain based game?
Well, I'm happy to start on the intro to the game. I mean, really, the explorability factor of Project Nebula, I believe and know, is going to be one of the cruxes of why people will want to keep playing us, and why we can continue to make the game awesome years from now. There's going to be just endless amount of things to uncover, to find in the universe. There's a huge strategic body behind all of this exploration, and it's a game that has the full capability to evolve, and we plan to make it evolve over time, to continue to take in multiple facets of that 4X gaming genre. And we're mixing in with it what I believe is a pretty healthy mixture of collectability, art, design, storylines. You've probably read quite a bit of our lore. You've seen a lot of the artwork that has been produced for our game. Music is part of the collectability factor here as well, and all of this just kind of thrown out into a somewhat finite but constantly able to expand universe. And I think it's yeah, I mean it's awesome. I'm not really sure not really sure else how to describe that other than awesome.
Just like Daniel said, for us right from the beginning, combining the two gaming genres of a strategy game and the collectible game was the goal we set for ourselves, actually, with Project Nebula. And so the strategy aspect of Project Nebula is fairly straightforward, I would say. Project Nebula has a hex-based universe that's full of exciting content and encounters, and because it's a shared universe, players will be inevitably competing with one another for resources and for dominance in that universe. And when we talk about Project Nebula, then we have to talk about the collectible aspect of the game. So we're building Project Nebula in a way that most of the assets in the game are at their core digital collectible items. They are limited in quantity and they are unique. So I think we've really gone the extra mile here in order to tie our collectibles with some really awesome lore pieces, artwork, and soundtracks that we think will do a lot in helping make the playing of Project Nebula an unforgettable experience. We got a bunch of people working full time to create astonishing things that we are planning to place into this universe. And for me as a gamer, it would be really, really awesome to start exploring all that.
Yeah, it does sound very ginormous for because I couldn't think of the word that I should be thinking of, but it sounds epic and vast. And on the point that you're making, so are these collectibles in the form of NFTs?
Yes.
So
yes.
You mentioned soundtracks as well. Soundtracks. I know pictures. I've seen a bit of promo, or even around the Legendary Planets. The giveaway that happened. So is the pictures and all those aspects all part of and delivered as an NFT? So
well, currently we have released one type of NFT. We have released the Planet NFTs, and the Planet NFTs come already equipped with those lore stories, those artworks, and those soundtracks. This is definitely not the only NFT. Well, we have already announced this as well. We have the spaceships joining the show soon. So basically, we are going to add more types of NFTs into our game.
I think it's fair to say at this point too that a lot of these things are able to be converted into NFTs. We're trying to make the whole experience, even surrounding the game, from how you maybe get to interact on social media to even the simple newsletters that you might get. We want there to be something exciting in any aspect of anything coming out of Project Nebula or Icon Forge to you. So we even have a small group of beta testers now getting a weekly email. There's lore pieces written specifically for this newsletter that have kind of a choose your own adventure side to them. But we'll actually be converting this lore into an NFT in the future for the people that have signed up for this newsletter. So there's always a chance and a really cool opportunity to make something unique, collectible, holdable, tradable, no matter what it is in the game. It's part of that, I guess, evolutionary side to how the game will go. Just from this groundwork to the future.
Okay, so I'll be honest here. So even when I first heard about the game, I was extremely excited, and I don't mean was. I still am very excited, extremely, in fact. And always the first question that came to my mind is, I would love to know, and I wanted to ask this in the forums, is could you walk us through as a new player? What will you do in the game? What are some of the goals? So if I was brand new, log in, what are some of the first few things I would expect? And I don't want to ruin it for new players who are going, excited about the game, but I feel that will help give a lot of context to everyone out there wanting to know a bit more about the game.
So basically, the game will start in a way that the player is controlling at least one spaceship NFT, and he is thrown into this hex grid universe of Project Nebula, and he will start exploring this universe with his spaceship. And if that player already happens to have some planets, then he will have various things he can already interact with on those planets. But basically, the game is happening in real time, and the resource generation in the game is also happening in real time. And basically, players will be gathering resources from their planets that the planets generate, and they will be using those resources to upgrade their game assets, and in the future, hopefully, even create new NFTs out of those resources, using those resources. And on top of that, there is also a technology tree available in the game that players can use to learn new skills and technologies that allow them to perform better in the game.
There's of course it's in our roadmap as well, but there is definitely coming a time where PvP will come into play, and we'll get to go into some like super exciting interactions between different players in the game and in the universe, as Holger said in this real time as well. But in the beginning, it's definitely going to be reminiscent of these exploration games that you're probably familiar with, where you will, like he says, start out with a ship, and you will start in this hex space universe, and you'll uncover basically void and come across objects and interact with them. But it is definitely a growth leaderboard. How big can you build your armada of planets here, and kind of take control over different regions, sectors, as the universe we have is broken up into. So there's a lot of room for growth, and a lot of room to do a lot with your planets. and your spaceship. So it's definitely a long journey, and I think a fun one.
So how long have you guys, or I guess what was the kind of start of the initial idea for the project, and when did you guys start building? So what's I guess kind of the overall history of the project.
Well, in reality, we've been creating this game, Project Nebula, for about a year. I mean, we've been excited about all sorts of games for quite a long time, and I personally worked on some board games as a hobby, and even started to craft my own RPG system at one point. So I guess that has always been like a secret interest, so to speak. But Project Nebula was not something that we kind of like one day woke up with and decided that we want to do, or something even we had a very clear vision right from the get-go. Definitely not. So before we announced ourselves as a team in the Icon community, before we applied for becoming an Icon public representative, we spent countless hours and days with Karel discussing and brainstorming about what Project Nebula should be like. And we're still doing that, because usually it happens so that for every one thing or aspect of the game that gets like decided or set in stone, two new questions or new possibilities pop up. So this is like a continuous process. It has not stopped, and it likely will not stop. So I guess it's fair to say that this vision of Project Nebula has evolved over time, and will for sure continue to evolve in the future as well. We have recently entered a very interesting stage where we've completed our first round of beta testing. This means first real feedback from other people outside our own team, and this has been extremely valuable for us, and will also for sure affect how and in what order we decide to move forward with new developments and functionalities in the game. Because at the end of the day, we're not building it for ourselves, we're doing it for the players.
So and on that note, obviously the blockchain element is a bit relatively unique. There's not too many games out there that are on blockchain yet. Obviously, that number is growing. So can you just kind of, obviously there's the NFT aspect. I think everyone has a pretty good understanding why that's beneficial, but if you want to go into that, feel free. But I guess in general, how does building this game on a blockchain, but also specifically Icon, help the game and its players? And I guess as an addition to that, to what extent is how much of the gameplay is on the blockchain? How much of the game itself, the elements, how much of them are on blockchain? I don't know if you have a number off the top of your head or anything like that, but just kind of give a general estimate.
The number one reason for integrating Project Nebula with a blockchain is that it enables us to give power to the players. Not sure if power is actually the best word here, but the point is that being gamers ourselves, we believe that players' time is valuable, and we believe that it is a good thing to build a game in a way that people who spend their money and their time on playing a game, that they have something for all of that input in the end. For example, when a player might decide to stop playing, they would have the option to like cash out from the game, sell their assets, and earn real value from the time they invested into the game. So this is one of the reasons why we definitely wanted to use blockchain, and decided to distribute the main assets in the game as non-fungible tokens. And the second main reason is that, as we talked before, that Project Nebula is also a collectible game, and the digital collectibles were not really possible without a blockchain before. So this emerging NFT technology has basically arrived here to change that, allowing everybody to track the ownership of digital assets, prove their authenticity, and ultimately give control over those assets to the players. So in our case, this doing this game on blockchain was a no-brainer. We needed to use one, and why we chose Icon. Daniel, would you want to say that?
I mean, Icon really Icon was new to me when I joined up with Project Nebula, but it did not take long to realize personally why it was such a benefit for a game aspect. I mean, we don't have these huge minting fees. We don't have these slower transactions. You know, you can do something in the game and it doesn't take 6 minutes or over an hour for it to happen. It happens in a second or two. And your cost of transactions are so below even a cent that players don't really have to feel this pain, this worry. They kind of know they can know exactly kind of what they're spending their money on without a whole bunch of overhead, and it really provides a pretty sweet, seamless experience. I mean, and outside of that, I think Holger has already touched on this, but the the notion that NFTs naturally bring in this, not to harp on it, just naturally bring in this ownability factor for players makes it a really good choice for us to be able to build a game like this that is so heavy on what you discover and what you own and what you grow, and it kind of gives this it eventually can kind of give this play to earn aspect as well. So yeah, a no-brainer, I think, as my colleague said.
Yeah, not to further harp on the Ethereum gas fees, but I was just realizing that just for one transaction on Ethereum probably costs more than it is to buy a game on Steam at this point. So obviously a clear advantage there as far as Icon's concerned.
You're not wrong, and I had, just to also say this, I had someone ask the other day if there was a transaction fee that occurred in our game and with their ICX wallet just for playing. For time in the game or things like that, but the answer to that is absolutely not. The only time that someone is charged any ICX when playing the game is when they're transacting in the marketplace, or, well, yeah, actually that's it. So I would say it's pretty solid. If that is out there, it's not part of Project Nebula, so it's a benefit.
Good to know.
So you've kind of streamlined that experience of where you're dependent on the chain to verify something versus what you can keep in game, so that you don't constantly have to interact with the blockchain.
That's
yes.
correct, yes.
Cool. No, that's great. So
and I think to I think there might be a misconception out there that every time anything is done on the game that it's adds a transaction to the Icon network. So there might be some people who would say, oh, this game might bring thousands of transactions per day of just anytime someone clicks something, that might be a transaction or something like that. But kind of as you alluded to, the number of transactions actually occurring on the chain is low, and I think I can't remember who mentioned this or where I saw it, but I think something from Project Nebula basically said, because the blockchain is public, you don't want to give away people, maybe they're doing a strategy on their, within their game. And if you were to log every single thing that a player does, obviously it'd be easy to tell, especially as far as multiplayer is concerned, what player is doing what. So there's some advantages to not necessarily putting everything on the blockchain as well, too, at least in this context.
That's correct. And I would even have to go as far as to say that if you're not a crypto person, if you're not a big crypto enthusiast, if you have a friend that isn't, we have some, pretty simple educational material up there on our Medium page on how to set up the wallet and everything. It's not very difficult, and if you can get that far, you can play our game after you grab a ship or a planet or both, and you might interact with the marketplace or have this pop up once just every now and then whenever you're transacting, selling, or buying something in the game. But yeah, outside of that, completely clean slate. It's just a game at that point.
And just for the sake of clarity, if someone's new to the game and they want to play, there's not a required fee to buy a planet or buy a spaceship or anything like that, right? Am I correct? They can play for free essentially to start going, and then obviously earn things as they play.
That's not actually fully correct. They would need to have either a spaceship or a planet NFT.
Got it.
We a lot of the build up coming into launch, I think, has driven good questions. You can see this especially in our Discord. People are curious about planet prices. People are curious about how they can get a planet. Now the question, of course, coming up with spaceships has arisen, but a lot of that goes back to cost and value. So it's just a fair reminder that we are still in this post pre-sale, pre-launch phase. The market is doing exactly what I would hope anybody would hope it would do, which is growing. But this does not mean that it's going to cost you 300-400 ICX to come in and play the game come launch. So there's definitely a big shift that will take place when launch comes. We have this first generation come out, and we can reintroduce some new NFTs back at this cost, and then let players again after this claiming decide the new market values and things like that. So it's definitely not inaccessible, but it is not free to play.
So I think it was a great question and a good call out. So let's talk about, because you've already had a Genesis pack sale, right? How long ago was that? Last year? Was it October, I think?
Yeah, we started the pre-sale started in October, yes, and ended in 5th of January this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of lucky people out there who have some planets, and based on after this sale, you've already kicked off the marketplace has launched. So at the moment, the one place anyone who's currently browsing can acquire the NFT planets is on the marketplace. So I wanted to talk through this a little bit, and so we have marketplace where everyday users can go and purchase, based on either auction style or just the going rate at the time, depending on how the player has set it up. Could you tell us how that's helping? We know from a player aspect, it gives the player complete control on their asset. They can sell their planets or acquire planets. But can you tell us from a dev standpoint, how does the marketplace aid you?
Well, it most certainly does aid us, because we are using a small fee there, so we will actually gain a little bit of ICX when every transaction takes place. So yes, there's that. The marketplace has been performing quite well. I would say January was the first month when it was open for all of the players, and it did already a pleasant sales volume went through the marketplace, and in February this was doubled, and now we're in March, and already with the first half of March we have again doubled the previous months. So basically this activity in the marketplace has been growing quite fast, and I think it will likely grow as we get closer to the game launch even more. Yes. Currently, we have to understand, yes, that there's only like one types of NFTs available on that marketplace, and we are hoping to, or we are planning to spice things up with these new NFTs that are coming, and one day the marketplace will be full of all sorts of cool stuff, not only the planets, but more.
I would like maybe to speak to both sides of the coin here. I know a lot of people probably, not probably, a lot of people are interested in the NFT aspect of this, and we want to equally play to both sides of that coin. So when it comes to gaming, I think a lot of people are wondering if I spend, will it affect how I'm able to play the game in such a way that it's unfair or advantageous against someone else who doesn't have the opportunity to do so as much? The answer is really no. We are setting up governing factors and things in the game that will allow for fair gameplay and for people to be able to come in and truly enjoy playing a strategy game. But on the other side of that coin, we're also thrilled to be seeing a marketplace that has done exactly what we and players would hope, which is grow in value already, just from this zero generation of planets before launch when the next generation comes out. So even rare planets that were 150 ICX when ICX was below 50 cents back in October. They've been sold at 2,000% value over the last week. We've seen this go for 3,000 ICX at around $1.75, and I mean that's exciting for players. That's exciting for us. It's super cool to be able to see this kind of this traction in value. We've seen entire sets of art in the game get sold together. We just recently orchestrated a sale for somebody where they tried to buy all 5 pieces of a collectible piece of artwork. So there's a lot of interest peaking from a lot of people at all points of this game, and we've been super happy and super lucky to see that already in such a short period.
So, and I guess why I really wanted to ask this, because, you know, you got your traditional games where you pay to play the actual game, then you probably pay for extra packs, characters, etc. in the game, and that's where it stops. Okay, so really the builders have complete control over everything. However, the game you're building and it's flipped. So yes, you acquire planets and spaceships, you know, initially. However, then the player has full control of what they do with the assets. But at the same time, whatever, because it's your creations in a sense, there is the marketplace that gives you a small royalty, like you could say, which is all the rage in the NFT space, supporting the artist. You know, so it gives control to the user, but it also gives the creators a bit of onus and a cut there, and that in turn goes to help further create things for the game, and this is what I wanted to call out from both perspectives, and we're seeing that happen already in the marketplace, which is fantastic. I guess this leads perfectly to that next segue. So recently, and I felt this tweet went unnoticed, although when I saw it I went a little crazy in different Telegram groups. You mentioned something about a retro drop for the spaceships happening to the early supporters. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, that's correct. That's quite the news, actually. Well, it never was a secret that we were planning to bring along spaceships into Project Nebula at some point. I believe we've already mentioned this several times before in some of our channels and during the previous AMA, but this it wasn't something that we initially planned to do already with game launch. Quite simply because we didn't want to postpone the public launch very much, and bringing in another type of NFT and integrating it with the game is, well, it's all but easy. But soon after we basically started development of the movement and exploration mechanics of Project Nebula, we quickly realized that it makes so much sense, so much more sense to bring in the spaceship NFTs already sooner, and introduce them with the first public launch of Project Nebula, because they, well, quite literally, they had the potential to change many of the approaches we use in exploration and movement in the game. So yeah. The whole team worked really hard to make that happen. Not everything is already completed or done in that sector for sure, but we're on track, and we are planning to introduce spaceship NFTs very soon. I think during this week, we will reveal the details for the airdrop. We're going to be very transparent about the process, all of the quantities and the types of NFTs that we create. All of this will be revealed this week.
So you're gonna reveal how the airdrops would work, but you mentioned this earlier. You said create NFTs. Even earlier when you were talking about planets, I hooked onto it, but I thought, oh, I won't quiz you further. But is this so? Will players be able to create their own NFTs in game?
Yes, this is our goal. Crafting new crafting new NFTs will not be possible right at right when we launched Project Nebula. This is planned to be developed with a future expansion. We do plan to tackle this crafting of new NFTs already this year. But basically, yes, this is eventually where we are moving towards. We want to build a quite like big player-driven economy into Project Nebula. So allowing or giving the players the chance to start using the resources they have accumulated in the game and the skills they have learned in the game, to give them a possibility to basically use those things and craft new NFTs inside the game. This is definitely an important aspect of Project Nebula and how we imagine an awesome player-driven economy can come to life. But as I said, yes, this crafting functionality will not be available right from the start. It's coming a bit later.
Fair enough. I was just going to call that an Iron Icon exclusive. Coming later. You heard it first here.
Then when you make the NFTs, we don't have to.
So do you, are there any other points you guys want to get across, or any other facts that you want to make sure the audience knows about the game? And also, if you guys don't, I think it's already floating out there plenty, but if you just kind of want to give a reminder of what type of timeline you're looking at, both, I guess, in terms of actual release and then any other features down the line that you feel confident enough about to put a timeline on.
I do want to say, from my side of things, jump into our Discord. I've left a link in our conversation here, and I think you guys might be able to include it somewhere. If possible.
We'll put it in we'll have it in the show notes, so people should be able to find it very easily.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we can drop you one for our Telegram as well. But our Discord is where we're doing a lot of our announcements. There's a lot of structure there, and we've got a very alive community. People coming from all over, and showing a lot of excitement. So it's a really good time to get in there. And, the launch is coming this summer. Holger can talk a bit more about it, but I'm excited, and I see a lot of excitement, and I hope you guys are as well. So with this spaceship airdrop coming soon, with these planets currently up for sale, up ready to be claimed in the marketplace, there's a lot to do before launch if you're just coming into the community. So definitely check us out.
So a quick couple of sneaky questions I wanted to ask too, and I bet it's on all players' minds, given that you've now announced spaceships and retro dropping, but particularly the spaceships. Will the spaceships be upgradable? Like the planets, or is that a hidden secret?
I guess we can say that yes, they will be upgradable. They might not be upgradable on late May or early June when we launch the first public version of Project Nebula, but eventually, yes, for sure, definitely, they will be upgradable. They will be customizable in more than one way. So we are really looking forward to.
They're going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going.
Love it. And with the planets, so currently, obviously from the initial pack, that's what we're seeing in the marketplace. But when the game launches, you'll be able to upgrade the planets and spend a bit of time crafting the planets the way you want. Once that's done, is it a case of you can then take the planet with all the upgrades and sell it in the marketplace, or would it default back into, the base, how the rare or the uncommon or legendary worked?
No, the planets. Oh, sorry. Go.
You can say it.
The planets upgrades are going to transition with the planets. We want people to be able to make something greater of their NFT that they get as a base, and be able to add that into the value when and if they decide to give that planet to someone else. Not give, but definitely take some good ICX for it. Yeah. So the planet upgrading is directly tied to what I assume is okay to say is value for that planet. So yeah, definitely. The visual aspect of the NFT, at least in the beginning, to my knowledge here, but the visual aspect of the NFT doesn't change. But the stats of the upgrades on the NFT and things like this definitely do.
Yep. No, excellent. Thank you for that. And just imagine, like, so we've got these planets, the rares, what they were going for 125, you said, I remember. And now they're almost at 3,000. These planets we haven't played the game, and we haven't spent time, players haven't spent time upgrading and doing all the things they can do. Imagine, what will be possible once we have the game in full flight and players spend the time, and then, after 30 hours of playing and they've got this planet up there, they put it on the marketplace, and how further appealing it will be to the other users who don't want to spend the time and just want to go and acquire the planet. That's what I just love about this, and I wanted to give a bit of context, and I'm glad you gave us that insights around the planets. I think we've covered everything. The surprise that everyone who have stayed on and listened this far, we're going to end the podcast with one of the soundtracks, I believe, Holger?
Yes, that is correct. This is a teaser for the Generation 1 collectible soundtracks composed by Evert Sundja. And this is the first time anybody hears this. Enjoy.
Excellent. And actually, on this note, while we have you all, I've seen in a lot of different posts, a lot of your artwork and soundtracks is actually produced by various artists across the world. Am I correct?
Currently, we are more closely working with one composer, and we have collaborated with a few digital artists. Yes, but we are open for interesting new collaboration proposals. If there is anybody who feels that they really want to contribute to this project and get their art featured in the game. So
excellent.
Definitely, and that would be a collab at projectnebula.app if anybody does want to send an email. It's not a guarantee that we can use everything coming in, but we definitely would love to have a better armory of artists and talented folk there who are interested in contributing if possible.
Excellent. Icon Grapho, any closing words?
Nope. I think as far as the NFTs are concerned, obviously the market's really heated up recently. So I think the timing's pretty interesting as far as Project Nebula launching. Obviously the Nebula's own NFT market has been heating up as well. So I can't say that it wasn't. I doubt that you guys planned that all out the way it did, especially with the NFT market going the way it was. But I think that'll certainly drive a lot more interest to the game itself, which obviously can drive a lot more interest to Icon as well. So I know there's a lot of people in the community who are excited about not only the concept, but of course playing as well. Myself being one of them. So I'm certainly excited for the release, and I imagine I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of other people when I say that.
So just before we close out, how close are we to the actual release, D-Day? Are we ready to even give a kind of few months, or not there yet?
Yes, we are. We are not yet ready to give an exact date, but the public launch of Project Nebula will happen in late May or early June.
That's great. Not long at all. Better keep hunting for bargains in the marketplace. The new generation pack that's going to launch. Looking forward to that. Excellent. Look, guys, I want to thank you so much. This particular podcast, we're all in different time zones, and it has its own unique challenges. But really appreciate coming on so late your time, so that we could get this done and get this information out there to everyone. Yes, it's been fantastic. Just to summarize, we've got a game here that has got NFTs, exploration. It uses the Icon blockchain. It's already got a marketplace that is launched. If you're listening to this and all of this has got you interested, we'll have the links, the websites, Telegram groups, everything you can imagine in the show notes. Jump in there, start asking questions, and get involved in the project. I know I'm in the community, and Daniel does a great job of what I feel is just pure entertainment. So keep up the great work, Daniel.
I appreciate that. It was super good to chat with you guys. So thanks to both of you, Fez and Iconograph. It's been fun.
Yeah, thank you for having
Thanks,
us.
guys.
Thanks, guys. Take care, everyone.